Hello, it's Dawn. Welcome to the Spiritual View. And today I'm here with my friend Nat from Chai Astrology. And what we want to talk about today is just one aspect of how we use asteroid goddesses and the asteroids as a guide to tell us different things about the chart. Both Nat and I use asteroids whenever we read anybody's charts. And there's certain ones that we have as go-to, as far as we always have those in every particular reading. And then if we have an opportunity to speak with that person and they follow certain things in their chart and they're interested, like if they're a Reiki master or something, we can actually go and look those things up and see how that looks in their chart and how the aspected moving asteroid is affecting their chart in different ways. So to start with, I wanted to show you how to put asteroids in your chart. I use astro.com. It's a free website for astrology. It is extremely accurate. Otherwise, astro.com, otherwise known as Astrodienst. And they have some very they have a listing of, I don't know how many thousands, I mean, tens of thousands of asteroids that are named. So
over 20,000, I think.
Yeah, over 20,000 asteroids that are named. So what I'm going to do is start by pulling up my chart so you can see what that looks like. And what we're going to show today is specifically how to see spiritual gifts in the natal chart. And we start by, we're going to pull up the asteroids. So I'm just going to go in and start by pulling up my chart. And my chart is right here. So let me just show you what the other part of this is. Oh, I have to have my glasses. I'm sorry. Dawn needs glasses when Dawn is doing her charts. So
Chart without the asteroids is just so quiet.
Yeah, and as you can see here, I'm going to make this. Oops. Here we go. Dun, dun, dun. I'm going to make it a little bigger for you to see and share this tab. So as you can see, that is so plain. It is so plain. You do have, my ascendant, my descendant would be over here, Mars, all of the basic planets, all here. I'm not showing Chiron at this moment, but Chiron, as you know, is so used, technically considered a centaur. So let's go back. And what I'm going to do, let's go back to this, show you this tab. Okay, so what you do is you go back to chart selection. Now you have to be in extended chart selection. So if you do not know where this is located at, under My Astro, you click that little, bar, go down to horoscope drawings and data, and go down to extended chart selection. Right? So we have the whole sign houses is what I'm using. And here we have, it automatically populates. There's a way that you can, once you choose them, you can keep them. I'll show you that in a minute. But so what I'm going to do is start, I'm just going to show a bunch of them at one time. So I'm just going to hold my cursor and go all the way down to Vesta. So it will show all of these, including Chiron, Ceres, Pallas, Juno, and Vesta. And these other things in the chart, Vertex, Lilith. As a matter of fact, let's just leave those out and we'll just show the asteroids here. We'll just show those. Okay, so here is the common elements. If you look down a little bit further, let me show you a little bit further. There's Sedna, there's Quawar, Orcus, Makemake, Haumea, Eris. So all of these are in here. I don't want to add too many in because it'll make it too busy for what I'm trying to demonstrate. But I do love Eris and Sedna and Haumea. specifically. So the other thing is manual entry or getting the asteroid from the listed name. So 25208 names, asteroids that are named. So if you know the number, you can enter it in over here automatically, but most people aren't going to know the number off the top of their head unless someone specifically gives it to them. So what I'm going to do is go in and I'm going to go to alphabetically, and these are all listed alphabetically. I'm going to go to Chericlo, who is the healer, and she is a goddess that is the wife of Chiron. She is a shapeshifter. She was a water nymph. And she is also, she can shift into the shape of a centaur, which is what Chiron was. Okay. Did I pass it?
Sherry, K, Sherry.
What is an I? There it is, right here.
Okay.
Ta-da! The other one I want to add in from the C's is Circe. Circe.
34.
Oh, we'll just add that in. See, Nat knows it. 34. Circe. And I also want to add in Hecate. What's the number?
100.
100. See, you need someone like Nat who has all this memorized. So you could easily find it under these particular ones. I am going to also add in, just for fun.
Oh, Dawn.
Dawn.
I don't know. I don't memorize.
I've had mine accidentally in there when I pulled up somebody else's chart, and it was like near their go back. Oh, this is the information. If you click on these, it will take you to information about that particular one. So there's Dawn. So we have Hecate, Chericlo, Dawn. There's another one I'm thinking of. Oh, Urania. Urania.
30.
That's 40?
30.
30.
Mm-hmm.
She is the goddess of, well, she is the muse of astronomy and astrology. So now that I've had these picked out, I'm going to go up here and show the chart. Okay. Now, if you want to see what this looks like with, what was my, if you want to save the default settings that you've just added all of these in right here. If you want to save the default settings, this is the screen that you do it from. You go up here and hit Save Default Settings, and it will save everything that you have added in. So when you pull up anything else in here, if you have, I highly recommend that you get a free account and save the information of the people that you know personally, that you look at their charts all the time, and you can then have all of these show up automatically. Now, what comes in here, what shows up for me here is Hecate is conjunct my ascendant. Hecate is the goddess of crossroads. She's the goddess of the dark of the moon. She is the goddess of witchcraft. And she is a way shower and has keys to all the domains. This is Hecate conjunct my ascendant. So I have a very strong bond with Hecate. Also, we have Urania. Urania is in my 5th house, things that I enjoy, Urania. And that would be in a trine to my Mars, Urania, and up to my moon. So this makes a grand air trine in my chart. We also have Chericlo is conjunct my midheaven. Within 30, it's like 31 minutes, it's conjunct. So it's a pretty tight, this was like almost exactly 1 degree, and this one is 30 minutes. So Chericlo is part of, I consider her a healer. I consider her holding space for other people to heal. So my interpretation of my chart when I have looked at it is with Hecate here, people coming to me to seek answers using astrology, Urania, up to this area of the chart where they can find their own healing. Because Cherklo allows you to find your own healing and heal yourself. She wants to be the space holder for that process. You have to do the healing, but she's the space holder. So that's just one way to look at the signs. And I do have Dawn over here at 16 in Scorpio, near my Neptune, right? So, and Circe here is at 6 degrees. I also have, there's a couple other things that I have at 6 degrees that are other asteroids, which are really interesting. But I do have a lot of 6s in my chart. So this would be a square to Circe. The Mars and Circe would be a square. Circe for me is not knowing what your true power is, your secret sauce. And having to discover what that is, because she did not know she had special powers. She did not. So this is, for me, I read the story about Circe, and I find it very interesting because, you know, she gave her all for a man, and he immediately turned away from her and loved somebody else. And, you know, she thought she was just so untalented and had no self-esteem, but she had magic in her. And she just wasn't aware of it. So finally, she found out what her true gift was as an alchemist, because she was brilliant at raising plants. But when she put them together, just like a medicine person puts them together, there was something extra that came into it. So that is the secret sauce of Circe. And Chiron is located at 10 degrees. So this is how I pull up, again, asteroids. And normally I have more than this in here because I find that they are a nuance to the story of the chart. So if you have something that specifically you relate to, or even the name of someone that you want to put in and see where that shows up in the chart, do that and find out if it resonates with your chart. I have found that you have to have it within 1 or 2 degrees for it to be very activated. But there's certain ones that I always use because Ceres, which is really a planet, Juno and Vesta have been part of this story for so long that they do have the same, how do we put it, Nat, the same impact as the outer planets do?
Right. Influence, same weight. So I practice Hellenistic astrology. So, you know, to evaluate chart, really just only use the traditional planets, not even include outer planets. But when I read a chart, of course, include outer planets as well as, you know, asteroid goddesses. So that it will kind of like equalize the power of, like, you know, feminine and masculine, or like yin and yang of our soul. So,
yeah, and that, yeah, that makes so much sense. That makes so much sense. So let me go ahead and bring us back in. I'll remove that. So that is the simple way to do it. And again, you have to pull the chart up, and then you'll find where you can save the default settings. And because it took me a while to figure that out. So I do have a lot that I automatically use, but I just wanted to clean it up a little bit so that you can see how to pull them up, what they look like in the chart. And I did actually, I had to laugh because I did do I looked at my Jupiter return, which is on 2/22/22. And in that chart, the asteroid Dawn is like within 2 minutes. It's not the same degree. It's within 2 minutes of perfecting my Jupiter return. So I was, when I found that, I had accidentally left it in, and then I was researching the Jupiter return. And when I did that and saw that was exact within 2 minutes, I was just stunned. So sometimes you'll find some of these asteroids are so strong in your chart that it's almost stunning the way that they're talking and speaking very loudly in the chart.
Right. So like before I went back to Japan the last time, I was looking at the whole bunch of asteroids, like trying to figure it out when to leave and when to come back. And there's a asteroid name. Haneda is actually the name of airport in Japan. I'm going to land at. And the asteroid Haneda was transit. Haneda was conjunct my natal Chiron. So I'm like, that day, I'm like, oh my God, this day. So that was like, so
Coming back home.
yeah.
Coming back home.
And so you can use, there's a lot of name-placed asteroids too. So you can look at the certain place. And
Oh, like Paris, you know, all
right.
those different asteroids. And yes, Paris was someone that was also in mythology,
Oh, yeah,
but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but also as the name, I mean, they're pretty forgiving as to how you utilize them. So,
Right, right. Because in my mind, the name carry the meaning, and you have a resonance to whenever hear the name. So, like, actually, I thought it was interesting that when you talk about the sources, so to me, my sources, the how I heard of them or how I connected with them is she was powerful sorcerer. So she knew her power and she used for her like her like her liking, or you know what I mean, kind of a manipulative way. So that's kind of how I comes out in my reading. But you know, to somebody else, that's something meaning something else. Then that's the kind of a richness of using asteroids so that we can connect the dots and actually like within that chart, like how they talk to other. So if the Cersei was talking to Hecate, maybe Hecate was telling her something. She was a priestess of Hecate. Or
right.
sometime I even heard that Cersei was daughter of Hecate, or maybe Medea. So Medea was yeah, niece of Cersei or something like that. But they were both priestess of Hecate. But in some account, they were the daughter of Hecate.
Just like there's different stories of Persephone, right?
Right, right, right.
Where Hermes got the credit for sending the message, and Hecate was actually part in a different part of that story that she was
Right.
also involved in that. Yeah. So
Mhm.
okay, so what we're going to move on to is Nat has a chart that she's going to pull up, and she's going to show you how she actually uses what 28 different asteroids, spiritual asteroids that she has researched, and show you how you can utilize those in your chart. So I will go ahead and add to stage the chart and let Nat take over. Go ahead, Nat.
Okay, so I'm going to walk you through how I read a spiritual gift in a natal chart, especially through the lens of 28 asteroids that carry deep spiritual resonance. And these asteroids are like kind of randomly, intuitively, but thoughtfully curated by me. But so think of these asteroids as ancient echoes that each one's a thread of the soul has carried across time. And together they map out into the gift, soul memories, and sacred callings that often go unnamed. So but before diving into the asteroid placements, I always begin by attuning into the psychic sensitivity of the chart for overall. So I first count the elements, then I show you what I mean. So by the way, this is my usual chart. Um, so I have like all the usual like a traditional planets and outer planets of Uranus. Where's the Uranus? Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. And nowadays, everybody include Chiron. So, but to more like equalize the weight of the chart, I have a Chariclo that's counterpart or the wife of Chiron. So they are like a pairs. And the Ceres is like equals to Pluto in my astrology. And there's other asteroid goddesses, Juno, Vesta, and Pallas. And then three moon, triple moon goddesses of Hecate, Selene, and Artemis. Artemis. And then there's a black moon Lilith. And this will create the echo of masculine energy and the female, feminine energy. And then, so I'll just see like how the elemental distribution of planetary or celestial placements. So 1, 2, 3, 4 for fire, only 3 for earth. And this is like kind of interesting too. That's only 3 and they're all in Virgo. So that kind of means something. And air is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And water is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So in her chart, she's air dominant. And so air dominant, so when the air element is most dominant, the prominent psychic indications is going to be a clear audience. So clear audience is a clear hearing. So she might hearing the message, sounds, or words from the spiritual realms, and which can be inner voice or external sounds the other doesn't hear. And then I will look at like some other psychic markers or spiritual gifts that indicate strongly. And when I think of that, my eyes goes to her kite pattern in her chart. And these are like air grand trine that is point to the Venus
Water.
Pluto. Yeah.
That's
Okay. Sorry.
No, I do have an air grand trine, but the one that shows up always is the water. Mm-hmm.
Water grand trine. And this is like, the Cancer, Mercury, Ceres, Juno, Vesta, and Sun. This alone will say like so much like intuitive power that comes from comes from within. And then trying to Neptune, the Neptune is our planets of our spirituality and imagination and subconscious realm that is connected to Jupiter and Chiron. So in Jupiter is a planet of our spirituality too. And Chiron brings the healing to this water grand trine. And that is opposing to this interesting Venus-Pluto conjunction in Virgo 4th house in 29 degrees black moon Lilith. So this is really interesting energy that's connected to like ancestry, the like Venus Pluto conjunction make me think of like the female voice that was suppressed and that trapped a power struggle or power dynamics that suppressed our like feminine voice. But then 29 degrees black moon list, like she can no longer hold her voice. She have to voice her opinion. In this lifetime is the one to do it.
I will say I also have my oscillating black moon Lilith is at 8 degrees of Virgo right on top of my Pluto. Yeah.
Wow. And that's the only like earth placements in your chart. And in that chart, 4th, 8th, and 12th are the spiritual houses to me. And yours are all in 4th houses. So like, this is like a karmic energy of healing the ancestral trauma. So not only you are healing your own, but as you heal your own like trauma or more you speak like what you think or what you know is true in your soul, you heal yourself, and that heals the ancestral lineage, the trauma that came from like long trauma that you just kind of like attached to your soul that awaken to this lifetime.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Well, I guess enough about that.
No, because that and to tell you the truth, and people that know me and have watched me before, they know that I come from a family of alcoholics, and it's, I mean, generation after generation after generation. I mean, at least 7 generations back, and probably longer, that there's been these things. And then I found that not only my ancestral trauma, but my ex's family, because they have a lot of ancestral trauma, but through my sons, I have been responsible for trying to heal that, to help clear it for my sons. And so there's a lot there. That's true. It's very, very accurate.
Okay. So that kind of established the base of your spiritual aspects in your chart. And now, so some reason I can't really clear this, so I'm just gonna put the parts of fortune.
It's fine.
Yeah, right. And then 28 asteroids in here. Okay, show the chart. And then you will look which one is really like speaking loudly. Let's see. Well, number one, like you already talked about it, but it's Hecate. Every time asteroids, or well, anything for that matter, conjunct angles of the chart, like ascendant, descendant, MCIC, that is like a prominent energy that's really important for your like soul journey. And then the Gaia and Karma conjuncting in the first house. So the first house is a house of self. So anything in this first house will contribute to the makeup of who you are. So very like prominent energy. And Gaia is the personification of earth and symbolize connection to nature's wisdom. And karma is represents the spiritual law of cause and effect in past life work. And this really connected to fourth house, this ancestral energy. And that opposing to aura and nemesis. And I guess I didn't count the nemesis, but aura represents the energy field surrounding individuals. So aura reading abilities. And in this to be seventh house, so I will say this person is like through the like connection to the natures and the karmic soul contract. So there's like a strong kind of a soul contract energy. So that she can kind of tell who she needs to be. Like maybe this is comes out strongly when she reading for like 101. So she not only she read a chart or a card, but already by person being in front of her, she already kind of reading from the aura the other person carries. And that's one of, I would say, that's one of the strong spiritual gift. And also, that's um, like a karmic work that she came here to do. And that's also square to her fourth house. And well, yeah, I guess that could be like a square to a 10th house too. So yeah, I don't know where I'm going, but let's
Well,
go. Oh, I got
and I
them.
do, and that's a great thing to point out, because when I do readings with people one-on-one, I do get that, and because I'll start talking to them, and then while we're talking, there's other things that come through as far as, okay, let's look at this particular area of the chart, and then we kind of deep dive, and a lot of times we do find what that person is moving towards and what they're going towards. So what their gifts are and how they can open them up a little bit more and what may be holding them back. So I do feel that because that the seventh house is you and someone else, that
Right.
communication with the other person. So that is, it's all jiving with what's going on in my daily life
Yeah.
with everything. So
Yeah, and I guess the nemesis here too, the goddess of divine retribution, symbolizing karmic balance, past life work. So this, I will have to say, speak to your marriage partner.
yeah.
Yeah, that had a karmic debt to settle.
And he was a Sagittarius rising.
Yeah, that's so amazing. Like every time I talk about, like maybe not every time, but a lot of times, when we talk about like a marriage in the life partnership, it's a seventh house, and a lot of times they say, "Oh, my husband is a Sagittarius," or the person is Sagittarius rising, or something like that. It's like every time.
So
Um,
it definitely shows up. It definitely shows up.
Yeah, definitely shows up. And the other conjuncting part of a fortune And what was it? Arda is the known. What do you say? Known goddess.
I think she's a Nordic. She's a Nordic goddess.
Okay, Nordic goddess. Yeah, representing the past and ancestral wisdom. And that's really active in the chart. And, placement of part of fortune, as Dimitra Georgi say, it's the energy of the sun and moon projected from ascendant that's concentrated and very active part of the chart. So this alone already saying that like past ancestral wisdom are very active and prominent in your chart. Okay. And then, you kind of look for other things that, kindly, like prominent, like conjunction. I usually, not only, but usually just look for conjunction. So I would say this Kyrie is conjunct Pluto and the Venus. Did I put that? And Kyrie is the Earth Mother, and very similar to like a Gaia and the Ceres too, like kind of like a motherly, like a motherhood, but maybe more like a primal. And so maybe that's the kind of ancestral energy, like a mother matriarchal. So maybe that was the time, the transitioning from matriarchal to patriarchal society, and how from that transition, how women's voice are more and more like diminished and distorted. And I don't know, now, we talk about a lot. I don't know how am I going with this.
Well, and I would agree with you, because right now a lot of astrologers, not just me, a lot of astrologers are saying the fact that Sedna, that is now in Gemini, and you're going to have Uranus come into and meet up with Sedna in Gemini, that is feminine power coming way back, because Sedna was betrayed by the men in her life, the patriarchal society. She was betrayed, but she transformed into these beautiful sea creatures and thrived. And she's coming back, and I have personal things that I think are going to be happening there. I think there's going to be on the earth-based side, there's going to be earthquakes and tectonic plate shifting and water issues and things like that. But that's also about that power coming back in. The feminine energy is coming back in very strongly. And there's a lot of astrologers that are saying that right now, that divine feminine is now coming back into her rightful place.
Right.
With these energies, not being like the patriarch was, but in the own matriarchal way of shared power. Right.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I don't know, like, I can't really put that into words. And when we start talking about it, it's going to be long. So maybe it has to be a different, another episode.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
We have lots of aspects to talk about. I'm sure that won't be a problem. Yeah.
Okay. So, but back to how you look at the I almost forgot what we were doing. Like, I'm just going to the reading mode. Okay, so then so, but if you looked over here, Delphi, that's not really conjunction or the opposition. Yeah, not really. So then Cersei, I think I include Cersei because she have affinity to number 6. And here, yeah, not anything. So then you, not this one. Okay, so now you will go back to chart selection and you will put back in this, and then you put back, I will put back my usual placements plus the prominent spiritual asteroids in her chart.
I know I do also have Hygeia at 6 degrees with Cersei too. So,
Wow.
yeah. In Pisces, yes. They're conjunct.
Wow. Do you know her number?
I'll look it up for you.
Okay. We can do this, but it takes so long.
Just type it in, because I think that works too if you just type it in.
Oh yeah?
Try that.
Hygeia?
Yep.
Is that right? No, was it
H-E?
H-E?
H-E-G-E-A?
G-E-A?
Yeah,
Is it?
I think that's right, but I'm not sure.
Was it I somewhere? Oh well.
I'll look it up. I'll just look it up. That's
Yeah.
fine. We'll just do that. I'll give you the number shortly.
Okay. Yeah, it's not it. I wonder who that was. Hold on. Urania.
H-Y.
Miss Vertex. Oh, nobody, because it's not numbered.
Oh, it's number 10.
Oh, okay.
H-Y.
Oh, yeah.
H-Y-G-I-E-A.
Oh, okay.
It's number 10.
All right.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Oh, yeah. Okay, then kind of reading from this chart to see the psychic or spiritual gift.
So now you've listed only the ones that actually were speaking in the chart.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. So are we going into reading it?
Yeah, you can I think you had some of the definitions that you had up on the other page with what some of those meant. So we can show that.
Oh, that's right. What would I? Okay, it's a stop sharing.
Yeah, and then just go to the other.
Okay. Present. No, that's this one.
So it's
okay.
And Nat does this as you do a free mini spiritual report, and that's what this product.
Right.
Is. So if we can leave that information down below for people that want to do that. She, I think then you'll be on her email list, which she does some brilliant astrology at the beginning of every week about what's going on in the astrology. So it's fascinating to have that up. So let me add this to the stage. And I'll make it a little bigger by bringing us out. So, okay, go ahead. And these are what the meanings are for those different ones that she picked up on.
This?
Yeah. Did you see it up? You see it listed? It's up now.
Okay. Yeah, this is really, I don't know why I only made this. I think because we did the reading for you, because this is only a definition.
Right. These are the definitions, but when she did the reading for me, she actually put more of an interpretation on what those were. So I actually have that as my personal
Oh,
stuff that
okay.
she
See,
said.
that I couldn't find in my file for some reason.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. But all the things that she said so far, it's that um really is in line to what I actually do and how I do astrology, and the fact that I'm very clairaudient. Sometimes I have words pop in and I'm like, well, I don't normally use that word when I'm reading cards or whatever, but sometimes things like that'll pop in, or a question for the person will pop in for me.
Mm.
And so I'll start going down that rabbit hole, and then there's a lot of information that we come across, but because I've been kind of led to ask a certain question, or sometimes I'll see something in the chart and I'll say, can you tell me about your relationship with your mother or with your parents? Because I'll see something in there that like it's in conjunct, it can be a very psychological issue between the parents, or sometimes that shows up on the chart where the parents that got divorced were not connected in any way, right? Because that can be the moon and Saturn or other things in the chart. But when I was looking at it and in relation to the actual person, it was just like they were not communicating whatsoever, right? So and you get those different things in the chart, but in somebody else's chart that would mean maybe something different. But with this particular person, when I started asking the questions, it was just like, oh yeah, that's true. That's true. So it really depends on you as a reader as you're looking at these things. But I have found that the asteroids bring in such a beautiful nuance into the chart and for the readings, and especially the gifts for that person, spiritually especially. And when I first pulled up my chart with nothing in it, I was like, Hecate's not there, Cheraclow's not there. They're my girls, right? And I have a lot of things at 6. So I have like the moon is at 6 degrees
Mhm.
Aquarius, Venus is at 6 degrees in Virgo, Mars is at 6 degrees in Gemini, which is going to be lit up with all this future energy. So my chart has been active for the past 18 months doing all kinds of crazy things, but I've been getting a lot more gifts and more intensity in gifts. And I
Right.
believe we're all getting that. I mean, I know you too have had different things come in to your into your life, and the more things that we're learning, because we're astrologers and learned astrology together, and we're always continuing that astrology learning, because that's how
Mhm.
astrology works. There's always new techniques. Sometimes it's just a matter of new asteroids that are coming in that have such powerful meaning. And
Right.
we're learning their meaning. Like Circe means different things to you than it does to
Mhm.
me. And
But then, like when I hear you talk about like other aspect of Cersei, and now it's into my like other definition. Like it kind of like expands my awareness. So in the some reading, that your Cersei might comes into their chart. You know what I
well,
mean?
and the fact that and what I can say is the Circe that I find that the person generally, it's like where you have a hidden talent that you don't know you have, but your Circe brings that she's a sorceress. Well, because that
Mhm.
talent is very powerful,
It
and
is
then you have
little
to know
bit
how to use it.
manipulative.
Yeah. Well, and that's the part that's where you find your vibrational level. How can I use this power and not be manipulative with it? Right.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that is the part of the learning process that is so fascinating, because you can, when that comes into meaning in somebody's chart, you know it. You're like,
Right.
oh, you you know, they're like, oh, I discovered I could do this. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're going to be really good at this.
Yeah, and like then like when the Cersei was like aspecting like so prominently, like you can start talk about like who the Cersei is, and then they might say, "Wow, uh, I did not know I had that kind of power, but now I kind of like all of a sudden that connect the dots and."
Right.
Like a discovery of the gift, like, oh my god, maybe, yeah, it was like it comes up, shows up like a time to time, but I never like connected to that could be my gift.
And I think what I found is also, this is really interesting for this week, because Hecate, I always like to leave it in the chart, because the transiting Hecate usually will show up with someone's personal planets when they're coming into a big change, and maybe a
Mm,
big decision coming up. So even if it's not prominent in their natal chart, it might
mm.
show up prominently, because I think she's very prominent. I think she's very prominent. And the thing is, Hecate is also one of the moon goddesses, and she is going to be opposite Venus very soon,
Oh,
when Venus goes into Taurus, because she's, Hecate is at the early degrees of Scorpio. Okay.
oh,
So
okay.
this week that will be happening, I think either the end of this week or the first part of next week, because I think it's on the 5th that she moves in. So this very fascinating energy of Hecate and the decisions, especially Venus can represent women.
Mm.
So what are we standing up for? What is our decisions that we're making? What houses are those for you in your personal chart? I think that's very important, especially if you're ruled by either if you're Libra or Taurus.
Maybe
Natally,
maybe we can do the Hecate episode.
we can do just a Hecate episode, because
Yeah,
she's that
that's
powerful.
Hecate, like Hecate as like mythology and the natal chart and the transit activation.
Yeah, and I think that'd be so much fun. So we'll have to plan on doing that. So we're going to
Yeah.
wrap this up, but this is basically showing you that there's so many different ways to use these asteroids in your chart, and play with that. Look up the names. Look up the names of the people that you know. I had somebody that I looked up her friend's name that was like her name, but was like spelled a little bit differently. And it was just like, I looked it up in the chart and where it was hidden. And I'm like, oh, this is a person that would help you bury bodies. And she goes, yep. And I'm like, yeah, that's your friend. That's in the chart. So it was really fast. I mean, it's so fascinating that
I
it
know.
was just
I have my brother's name in my third house of siblings.
siblings. Yeah.
It's nothing really like remarkable or anything, but just like it's just so funny that my
Yeah.
brother's name in my third house.
Well, and it's a Japanese name. It's just like, wow. So kind of
Yeah,
crazy.
and actually, lots of Japanese name asteroids,
Oh,
and
really?
I think there's a lot of different, like
Astronomers,
yeah. I mean,
Japanese astronomers.
not just Japan, but a lot of other country. But I don't know. So, but if I see Japanese, I know, and there's many.
Well, okay, so we'll plan on doing just a Hecate
Yes,
model. And so thank you for joining us.
you're
I hope that you get
welcome.
some information, come back and refer to this when you can. So um,
Yeah.
I will see everybody coming up on the lives on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. And Nat will occasionally make appearances as a guest on the channel, because we do a lot of astrology stuff together. So thank you for joining us, and have a great rest of your day. Bye.